Hello, good morning. I'm with the team Cadre. So for today, we're going to talk about the developing reading fluency. So reading fluency means reading faster, smoother, more expressively, or more quietly with the goal of reading. Silent fluent reading approaches the speed of speech. So it means the reading fluency is the mastering of your reading capacity, the fluency, your comprehension, and your understanding. Now we have the three components of the developing reading fluency, and those are the difficulties in oral reading, the strategies in developing reading fluency, and the relationship of fluency and reading comprehension. Now let's begin.
Children has oral reading difficulties because they have problems with phonetics or fluency, and some of them only have small experiences in reading books, and it can also prevent child reaching his or her potential even if it's mild to moderate and severe to profound. So the listed that I'm going to talk about are the symptoms that a child has oral reading difficulties. Early childhood. It is a critical period in the development of the human potential and also referred as preschool age. So the first one is doesn't know how to hold a book. So the child is having difficulties in how to hold a book. And the second one is can't tell the difference between letters and squiggles. So the preschool learners can still recognize what is the difference of the letters and squiggles. And the third one is can't recognize own name. As a preschool learners, they are in the phase that they can't recognize their own name. And the fourth one is only small numbers at words. So they can only say small of words or just limited words. And the fourth one is doesn't like rhyming games and can't fill in the rhyming words in familiar nursery rhymes. So the child doesn't like rhyming games and can fill in the rhyming word because they are having a hard time to recognize or memorize the nursery rhymes. Kindergarten, a class for children usually from 4 to 6 years old. So the first one is can't tell the difference between the sounds that make up a word. So in this phase, some of the kindergarten can't tell the difference or recognize the sounds that make up a word. And the second one is slow to name familiar objects and colors. So this is wherein the child or the learners are very slow in naming objects and colors. Even though gina-repeat na ni sa ilaha or gi-introduce na ni sa ilaha, they are still slow in naming it. So the third one is can't remember the names and sounds of the letters. So they tend to forget or di just sila maka-remember even if ang names or sounds sa letters kay gi-introduce na sa ilaha. And the fourth one is by the end of the kindergarten, can't write most of the consonant sounds in words. So at the end of the kindergarten, the child can still write most of the consonant in words and they are having oral reading difficulties. The fifth one is has trouble pronouncing new words and remembering them. So the child is having a hard time pronouncing a word and they are having difficulty in remembering it. And the sixth one is has trouble blending sounds together to say words. So they are having trouble blending sounds together to say words because they are lack in phonemic awareness skills. And the seventh one is says reading is easier for their classmates. So it is when the child starts saying reading is easier for their classmates because they probably have not yet developed a strong reading ability. So the eighth one is falls way behind their classmates. So the child falls way behind their classmates. It's because they are struggling in reading. And the ninth one is can't figure out unknown words. So the child can't determine unknown words. So the 10th one is resist reading aloud. So it means that a child has issues in decoding wherein they can put sounds together. Second and third grade. So the first one starts to withdraw. So the child will start to withdraw and they tend to lose their attention when they are reading books. And the second one is has some troubling behavior. So if the child has some troubling behavior, they might act out in class when they are very frustrated in the books that they are reading. And it is very important for the teachers to know what is the behavior of the child. And the third one is seems to guess at unknown words. So the child will most likely have some troubling in guessing unknown words. And the fourth one is does not get meaning from reading. So the child are having difficulty in comprehending what he reads.
While many students learn to read at expected level and rates of learning, some students do not make expected progress, despite teaching that has assisted their peers for these students to reach their potential. It is important that their individual learning needs in reading are identified and catered for. Now, may hope this information may build to the teachers of the learners' understanding and reading difficulties, that hoping that it may cater for and help the learners. And of course, the awareness of appearance of dyslexia. Now, what is dyslexia? Dyslexia is characterized by difficulty in learning to read and difficulties of learning of comprehensions. This includes difficulty with phonological awareness, phonological decoding, processing speed, orthographic coding, auditory, short-term memory, language skills, verbal comprehension, and or rapid naming. Now, the developmental reading disorder, or the DRD, are the most common reading disability. Now, dyslexia is the most recognized of reading disorder. However, not all reading disorder are linked to dyslexia.
And to this day, I would like to discuss or continue our topic, which is the reading comprehension. So, what is reading comprehension? The simplest definition of reading comprehension is to understand what you read. Those who have studied reading prefer a definition that emphasize that good readers work at understanding. They are active and intentional, conducting meaning by using the message in the text and their own knowledge, prior knowledge. Reading comprehension requires interacting with text in various ways. So the meaning of reading comprehension is you were able to understand what is in the text or what is in the sentence. In order you to understand the text, you must read or comprehend so that you are able to understand what you read. So it is very important to understand what we have read. So there are 5 types of reading comprehension. Number 1 is the lexical comprehension. Number 2 is the literal comprehension. Number 3 is the interpretive comprehension. Number 4 is the applied comprehension. And the last 5th is the affective comprehension. I will discuss or explain each one of them. So let's go first to the lexical comprehension. So the meaning of lexical comprehension is to understand the key vocabulary in the text. So it means that you only focus on what is in the text or what's in the sentence that you have read or vocabulary that you have read. So that's what's the meaning of lexical comprehension. Next is the literal comprehension. The meaning of literal comprehension is to understand or of information and fact directly stated in the text. So it means that you only focus on the information that the information that has given in the stated in the text. So that's what we call a literal comprehension. You are focusing on what is in the story or what is in the information that has been given. Number 3 is interpretive comprehension. This means that the reader's ability to extract ideas and information. It means that interpretive is relating to the story that the readers have read. So it's the meaning of this is you only relate your ideas and information into the story. So it means that you only reflect to the story that you have read. Number 4 is applied comprehension. It means that is to relate story to existing knowledge or opinion. So it's very understandable that applied comprehension is talk about yourself, self-learning or self-opinion of what you have understand. So it means that applied comprehension is more on opinionated by yourself. Then affective comprehension. So So it's very understandable also that effective comprehension it's it shows about emotion, our emotion, or what is our feelings or what we have feel from the story that we have read. So it talk about our emotion. So that what's the meaning of effective comprehension. So that's all the different types of reading comprehension. Thank you. 6 on how to improve our reading comprehension. Number 1 is the supporting claims. So the meaning of supporting claims is stated there that students use evidence from the text to support their thoughts. So it means that the students are capable of explaining, or what we call that, they will use their knowledge to support their information. So in that way they will able to develop their knowledge and reading about the information that they have. So number 2 is the summarization. Why summarization is important, or it helps to develop in the reading comprehension. So stated there that students authentically recognize the main ideas and details of an article and share them with an audience. So through summarization, the student were able to, or the student can already find the main idea of the story or the text that they have read. So summarization is need to be practiced to have need to have need to have a practice on how to develop a reading comprehension. Number 3 is vocabulary. So vocabulary, students learn practices and decipher new vocabulary in text. So it it's it tells that vocabulary is very important, so that we will also we will explore new words, or we will discover new words in which way we can apply it in other places or other races in our life. So vocabulary or learning new words can help also to improve our reading comprehension skills. Then number 4 is reflecting. So it's very understandable that reflection or reflecting, students reflect on what they learn, not only themselves but with an audience to hear different ideas. So it's very understandable that reflection is also help to improve our reading comprehension, because reflection is you are going to reflect yourself of what you have learned and the text or the story that you have read. So it is also included that reflection is the one on how to improve our reading comprehension. Number 5 is fast check. Fast check is students use to strategy to check the validity of resources. So it means that you are, for example, you are a teacher. So after the discussion, you are going to fast check the students, right? So you will ask the student if there is clarification or any clarification or any question that they have to know. So you are going to fast check if the student is already understand the discussion that you have. So it's very important to improve or to develop our fast check for the students. And the last is compare and contrast. So you already familiar with this one, that compare and contrast. Students compare and contrast both text and perspective, or differentiate the two variables in different ways. So it's very important that compare and contrast is also or included in how to develop a reading comprehension. So that's all. Question is, what is the relationship between the fluency and reading comprehension? So for me, the relationship between fluency and reading comprehension is attributed to proficient word recognition. Automatic word reading support one's ability to pay attention to what the text means. So it means that fluency and reading comprehension is both working together. It means that without the fluency, we can't create or we can't make or we can't understand the text if we are not knowledgeable enough of what we have read. For example, if we're going to read something, if we have that kind of idea, then it will go to the next, which is the reading comprehension. We were able to understand what we read because of our fluency. So fluency is a bridge to reading comprehension, because through fluency you are able to, or you have an accuracy to read fast or to understand the text of what you have read. So we must go first to the fluency before the reading comprehension. So that's all.
Okay. Fluency, it is the ability to read faster. It is with the speed, accuracy, and prosody. When we say prosody, it is our expression, the way how we read a text. It involves the ability to use multiple skills simultaneously. Okay. There are types of fluency. First is reading fluency, oral fluency, oral reading fluency, and written and compositional fluency. The first is reading, refers to the line between the recognition of words while reading and reading comprehension, which manifests itself in the speed and accuracy that one is able to read text. And oral fluency, it is a measurement both production and reception speech. And the third is oral fluency. It is distinguished from oral fluency. So it is the speed of how we talk faster. And the last one is written and compositional fluency. Can be measured in variety of ways. So there are many kinds of fluency in this written and compositional fluency. The importance of fluency is to build a bridge between word recognition and comprehension. They're able to make connection between what they are reading and their own background knowledge. Therefore, they're able to concentrate and comprehend what they are reading. So, it is also important to have fluency because it is one of the most critical building blocks of reading, because fluency development is directly related to comprehension. Many researchers found out that fluency and reading comprehension are correlated. That is, when the students read fluently, that is, the student is likely to comprehend what he or she is reading.
I will be discussing about the strategies in developing reading fluency. So what is reading fluency? Reading fluency is a set of skills that refers to a student's speed, accuracy, and ease of oral reading. Since we already know the meaning of reading fluency, how do you spot a fluent reader? Okay, so a fluent reader recognizes most words by sight, is able to read aloud easily, smoothly, and with the rhythm of natural speech. A fluent reader decodes unknown words quickly, attends to punctuation, and reads with proper expression. Those are the qualifications or how you identify the reader is fluent. So before we proceed to the various activities that could help your students develop their reading fluency, let us first get to know timed reading. So timed readings has two subtypes. It's practiced reading for speed and practiced reading for expression. Now, in practiced reading for speed, you have to set a timer for 1 minute. Mark any words that your student misses as he or she reads. At the end of 1 minute, talk to your student about what words he missed. That is practiced reading for speed. Now, practice reading for expression. Practice reading for expression, it's the same definition as practiced reading for speed, but here in expression you get to learn the child's expression on that certain word. Now let's proceed with the question, do you calculate reading fluency? Yes, you can actually calculate a reading fluency, but how do you do it? I will tell you. So in calculating your students' reading fluency is that you are going to minus the total number of words that your students read and the number of your students' errors. The total of that is your words correct per minute, which is the WPM. Now the first activity in developing your child's reading fluency is the choral reading. The choral reading is read a book out loud to your student, then have your student reread the book with you. For example, you read The Little Pig Went to the Market first, and then you will read it again, but this time you have to let your student read with you. Next, student adult reading. Read one-on-one with your student. You read first, providing your student with a model of fluent reading. Then have your student read the same passage to you. Using the same example, the little pig went to the market. So you have to read the sentence first, and then you let your student read after you. Is the partner reading. So it could be parent or teacher and child can take turns reading out loud to each other. Lastly, which is independent reading, your student engages in independent silent reading with minimal guidance and feedback. So basically this means that the child is more of aloof and alone in reading. No need of assistance or whatsoever. You also have to tell your students that in reading you are modeling expression, which is the varying tone, pitch, volume to reflect the meaning of the text. Next is pausing for punctuation. So obviously when there's a comma, you have to take a pause, and when there's a period, obviously you have to stop and then go again if there's another continuing sentence. Next is the smoothness, and by smoothness, meaning the avoidance of pauses, hesitations, repetitions of words, and multiple attempts for the words in the text. And lastly, the stress. So by creating emphasis on certain words like I love reading. Or the next example, did you see my adorable puppy? So those are what you model when you are reading, and let your students know about that. Lastly, why is this skill necessary, the reading fluency? Well, being able to read the words accurately, quickly, and with expression allows the reader to focus on the meaning of the text rather than the word. So as an elementary teacher, we have to make our students or develop their skills in reading fluency as they are very slow with reading, and they focus more on figuring out words rather than understanding what they read. So I think that would be all for me, Fritz Jala, in strategies in developing reading fluency. Thank you and goodbye.